Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are back now for part two of our Space and Health Forum. And I am Vignesh. This is Avery.
I'm Avery.
We'll introduce in a second. And we are part of Charan Kamal, which is a great health technology and innovation based organization. And we are all excited about interesting topics in that area. So, this is Avery Bennett. Want to say hi again?
Hi.
Avery is a computer engineering student at UIUC, the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, with very broad and sort of dynamic interests ranging from, well, computers to medical technology and innovation and all things on the intersection. Uh, would you like to say something about yourself as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you said so much. I do huge passion for both med tech and computer engineering and the different aspects of how computers are something that can affect and are part of everyday life for everyone. And they can also better the lives of everyone, which is something I'm really passionate about and why I have such an interest in the med tech field of that being something that really does directly improve the lives, health, allow people to live more fulfilling lives, thanks to technology.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Yeah.
One of the reasons this interactive session has been created today is because luckily in Chicago, every you are exposed to very good spaces where many people come from different backgrounds and they come together and they create technologies, right? So, what is the biggest inspiration for you to come on this free educational seminar or lecture series? What is your passion? How do you want to spread your knowledge to people around the world?
My passion is would definitely come down to the the openness and of access of technology. How we are continuing to make things more accessible to everyone, so that that we truly do better all of society. I think that's my huge motivation for this is to help this information be more accessible, so people know what's out there and what they can access, and how to reach out to people to help with developing more ideas, more technologies, more innovations, but also using the ones we have to the best of our abilities.
Yeah, that's very inspiring. I mean, and we are coming at you live from M Hub in Chicago, which is a place that seems to embody that ideal of technology and innovation, all with health and the eventual goal of making it public so that the broader world can benefit. Yeah.
And do you want to tell other speakers, volunteers who would want to be part of Charan Kamal, how can they find us?
Absolutely. Reach out through our LinkedIn, through our Instagram, even email us on our YouTube email. And just reach out whatever any of those ways, and we will get back to you. And we absolutely look forward to collaborating with you all.
So, with that wonderful introduction for both of you, let's have a big round of applause for each other. And we listen to you talk now.
Absolutely.
So, midway, Vignesh will be taking the questions.
Yep. Yep.
And then we'll go through it. And in the end is like comment section.
Okay.
Absolutely. Here we go. Let's see. Make sure that everyone is able to see this before we continue.
Still taking a second. What's going on?
So it took a minute last time.
Oh, did
So definitely nothing crazy here.
So I'll take a few deep breaths.
Yeah, we'll take a moment to. I'll introduce a little bit of what I'm going to be talking about. I will be going through different technologies and examples of med tech in space or on Earth, and how they interact with each other and better all of health in general, which is still going.
Oh, wait.
Let's see.
Oh, there it is.
Perfect. Okay. Are we live now?
Yeah, looks like
Slide
it.
not visible, but let's keep watching.
Perfect. Okay. So my talk will be on medtech advances for astronaut health, innovations in space medicine, and also mainly their earthly impact, because that is what affects all of us in the moment, which is definitely a huge topic, because these are things that may seem out of this world, but they are really truly, at home with us. As mentioned before, I'm Avery Bennett. I'm a student at U of I, the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, studying computer engineering with a focus on the interactiveness of people with technology. And so, yeah, who are we? This is, yes, our MedTech Forum, Charon Kamal Health Group, and we have a big focus on personal health as well as MedTech and innovation. And our goal, though, is to share and bring awareness to the knowledge of medicine, MedTech, and today, but also of the future as well. But why space needs medicine? When astronauts go into space, it is a very harsh environment. There is no air. The temperature can change by hundreds of degrees Celsius. They experience radiation, and then also you are in an isolated environment, away from any resources, away from most people, from those you care about, and so it can be a very stressful environment that can really damage the body and really affect your health. And so it's important to have and develop technologies to best handle those even situations that are unlikely, because they wouldn't be able to access any medical emergency technologies at all. And so there has to be that foresight and the wide reach in capabilities of different technologies to allow for efficiency, but also able to help the astronauts in any situation that could arise. Additionally, astronauts end up in space for up to a year, maybe more, staying in the ISS. And when they're on the International Space Station, they're in that experiencing the constant effects of space, as mentioned before. And so it's important to be able to have a lasting impact of keeping them safe over that entire duration, so that when they do return, they can return to their normal lives and continue to be healthy here on Earth. And so the first innovation that was really, really important when NASA was first started and developed is telemedicine. The way to have experts on Earth communicate and help with the astronauts in space. Because while you can send doctors into space to have the experience in person, it's not always possible to have experts of every kind. And so you need to be able to communicate information and be able to help from a distance and have that large telemedicine gap bridged. And so in the 60s, they started out with building technologies to send the information back and forth of vitals, of images, of text, of being able to communicate so that doctors could give advice and explain how to fix different problems that with instructions that the astronauts were trained to be able to follow. And so it allows to have that expertise without having to bring 100 doctors onto the International Space Station to help with every different problem that could arise. Today, though, a big advancement is something called holoportation, or 3D holoportation, which is a technology that combines a lot of different advancements in telemedicine with live interaction, but also through clear lenses that have screens on them as well, so that you can see the 3D image of the doctor or medical professional, or the astronaut being viewed by the medical professional in this space in front of you. And so you're able to interact with them as if they are physically there with you through being able to share visual and auditory data in a 3D sense. And so that has been a major thing that has allowed for even better care, as doctors are able to see a larger amount of the picture, which can really help with diagnosing and treating different problems that can arise health-wise in space. And this also is heavily prevalent on Earth, with an increase of 154% of telemedicine in the United States since the pandemic of 2020. Showing that it really is something that affects all of us. So these developments of, in this case, 3D holoportation, it is something that can really help and benefit everyone by having medicine and healthcare more accessible to all people, no matter your location. Another big thing that technology that is definitely related to the telemedicine is surgical robots that have been developed for a microgravity setting of being able to have the little to no resistance when moving around, and the precise control necessary for different interactions and healthcare in space. And a huge benefit of this as well is, since it is a robot contributing and doing the surgery in action, you can have medical professionals on Earth communicate, help test out, and watch over and double check different movements of these medical robots for surgeries and things that require that expertise and knowledge. And an example of this is the Space Mira, a 2 pound robotic assistant that is small, light, but also able to perform incisions. And the first one was first simulated incision was in 2024, but they do look forward to testing it out in more extreme cases, but also eventually being able to have it be something that can truly help out the astronauts in space when they need those types of more complex procedures. And on Earth, the robotic surgery market industry is massive, with a projected value of worth of 83 billion by 2032. And this is driven by a lot of different innovations when it comes to AI, compact tech, and obviously in robotics, and different technologies that help in the movement and control of those. And so these ideas and innovations of the robots and the medical devices in space are directly being pulled and used, but also advanced on Earth, which is going to be continuing to grow the market, and but also being able to help more people. As again, with the remote controllability, being able to do a surgery as soon as a patient needs it, instead of having to fly in or drive in a surgeon and have them get ready and swab in. Instead, you can have them get ready where they are and perform it from a distance. When it comes to surgeries, though, a lot of the times you need replacement parts or pieces, or replacement materials that can help heal and cover and let the body go back to its normal functions. And so 3D bioprinting is a massive field that is constantly growing, of building replacement organs and facilities for the human body, for people who need those replacements. And so recently in 2023, NASA had a big advancement with their biofabrication of being able to print a human knee meniscus by using the different standard materials of metals and plastics and acrylics, but also being able to use the cells of humans, of the astronauts, which can be lab grown and adjusted to best prepare and build a piece for the human body to help them continue their good work. And a huge advancement came with the understanding that microgravity has the benefit of allowing tissues to grow without scaffolding or other materials holding together the structure, due to the fact of there being no squish or constant force applied to the organ as it's being printed, which is another thing being looked into by a lot of different smaller companies, as they're looking to possibly work with stations like the the International Space Station, to see if they can print things in that sort of environment to allow for more ease of printing, less errors, less problems prone from the printing process, and having been constantly being affected by forces. And another potential thing that they've been exploring but haven't been able to do successfully as of yet is heart patches and skin grafts, which they're still developing the processes for and testing them out. But hopefully soon those will be able to be applied in space as well as all over on Earth in a more accurate and beneficial way. But another main thing, though, is if you can't tell the problem, though, there's no way to know how to heal it. And so advancing diagnostic technologies is a huge, important subject in medicine, of being able to figure out what the problem is, so you can then apply what we know about it to solve that problem. And so, as mentioned with telemedicine, that is a big tool of being able to apply a 3D image of the patient to doctors on Earth while they're in space to best communicate and observe and understand the situation of what is going on. But another thing, another technology, though, is being able to have devices that directly gather the data from the astronaut. For example, chips that can be attached to an astronaut to monitor calcium loss, inflammation, infection, blood content, and being able to make sure their nutrition is at the correct level. And then that information could be directly sent down to doctors who can observe them and make sure that they are staying healthy and will be able to continue their work in space, but then also return healthy, happy, and safe. And continuing with that, ultrasound imaging is something that is being constantly studied and constantly used on Earth, but being able to apply it into space is something a little bit more complex, especially being able to have an expert on Earth control and guide the someone who's not an expert or the patient, and moving the device around to best observe the situation and diagnose any issues that may arise. And so that's a constantly researched and studied field. And it's exciting to see how much more they can do in being able to bridge that gap of communication and have it be even easier to send that information and be able to communicate and help the astronauts as much as possible. And those are, again, technologies that can be applied to Earth. When people necessarily can't get to different hospitals or systems, or the expert is or medical expert is possibly unable to get to a situation, then you can have the device brought there possibly more easily and have it controlled or monitored at a distance, which can be really helpful in getting things, getting health and diagnosing faster to better help people. And again, with NASA, they have been leading this sphere with advanced diagnostic ultrasound and microgravity. ADUM is a technology that has been guiding over the past decade in dozens of countries, and being able to develop the new ultrasound techniques and technologies to make it more efficient and better for all ultrasound. So even though this isn't something just specific to space, as it is just a ultrasound machine, it is advancing ultrasound in general by making the machines more efficient, more effective. Exercise equipment. This was something mentioned before, and so, but it is still definitely a huge subject that they're constantly making advances on, since it is super important for astronauts to be able to continue what they're doing, since it's the reason why they are up there in the first place. And so they are required to exercise for hours daily using various technologies, ARED, CVIS, and the T2 treadmill, which was mentioned earlier, where it's a treadmill, but it simulates gravity by having a belt that is attached to the ground with suspension to keep pulling you down, to have the effectiveness of running in a zero gravity situation by applying a constant tension force. And so it's a subject that they're definitely looking more into, but there are already so many cool things to do. And suspension and tension forces are the main application that are being used in space to give the simulation of gravity, of force, since it is something that is constant.
Okay, at this point, we will pause a little bit to take some questions from the chat. I see that there are some wonderful questions up there, so maybe we'll hand them off to Avery to share his thoughts. So the Saffron Basket asks, for the future generation, why is it so important to focus on health in space? Will it actually happen soon? What are your thoughts on this, Avery?
I mean, it already is happening. Health is an important thing for everyone. Every single person needs to stay healthy, to continue to live, to have a full life, to be able to do the things they want to do. You have to be healthy. And this is seen in space, where they are doing, as seen here on the slide, they are making sure that exercise equipment to keep people in good physical condition and healthy physically, as well as the medicines as discussed before, for diagnosing and treating different conditions. But then these are also things that are all applied on Earth. As mentioned with the ultrasound machine, NASA is one of the leaders when it comes to research in ultrasound technologies because of the great uses they have in space, but also the great uses it has on Earth. They can apply all those things they learn to every single one of us in those different conditions. And even the smaller things, like the non-day-to-day things, those are non-day-to-day things, but there are also the things that are everyday, such as exercise. And so the equipment they're developing and producing in space are based on things down on Earth, but then there are also advancements on it. They're testing out different ideas and ways to exercise, and those are all things that we can apply here on Earth.
Great. Yeah. Another question from Dr. Vishal Kumar, and I think this is about holoprinting, is the question of, is holoprinting like a telephone or like similar to land? How does it, what exactly is it?
Yeah, the holoportation.
Oh, holoportation.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. No. So it is a technology of using multiple cameras to create a 3D image of a person that can then be shown to someone else through special lenses that are able to have a screen over the lens. And so you can look around and see the rest of the world around you, but then also projects and shows the image that is being sent. And so it looks as if there's a person there in the room, and you can see and observe their 3D presence and visually, and you can hear the auditory space and how they interact with it. And so it's a wonderful technology of a FaceTime or a Zoom or a call, but in a 3D setting and applied to the space you are currently in. And these are really cool, almost sci-fi technologies. You can see examples of this in pop culture. For example, in Avengers Endgame, a big Marvel movie that made billions of dollars. In that film, they used holoportation to show 3D images of different actors or characters being able to communicate from all over the world to be as if they were all in a single room, which is an amazing technology that can be applied to all different situations for communicating with world leaders, with doctors and scientists from around the world, or even just your loved ones and those you care for, being able to communicate when they're traveling in a more personal way.
That really is quite a tremendous technology. You also had like a picture, right, on one of the slides showing like a real.
Yeah. So on this slide, you can actually see an example of this, where you can see the whole group of medical professionals and NASA employees, and it looks as if they have a 3D presence there. Obviously, it's hard to tell with a 2D picture, but when the astronaut or the person wearing the glasses moves around in the space, the image of the people seems to stay in the same place, and you can also see different parts of them from the side that you wouldn't normally see from up front due to the technology, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's amazing, honestly. Very, very cool. Like, we're living in science fiction today.
It is. It's incredible. And obviously, like, it may not look like the highest image quality, but also this is hundreds of thousands of miles away up at the International Space Station, far away. And so it's incredible to think that this, as it continues to develop and grow, I mean, you can already reach people around the world. It can grow to be even more lifelike and personal of an experience.
Right. Yeah. So we also have a very interesting question from Muskan Mahajan asking about bioprinting. So she asks, how can 3D bioprinting be useful in the health industry? What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. I think that bioprinting has so many vast applications when it comes to anything minor, from just being able to stitch up a little bit easier during surgeries, of being able to create strings or other stitching materials or staples that can be better designed to and more personalized for a person. But then also the larger issues, there's always a need for donation organs or for organ transplants of people who need replacement organs when they have failures or damaged parts of their body. And so there's always, since there is that massive need and there's always long lists for every single type of organ, being able to print those and make them personalized so that you don't have to worry about them being rejected by the body is something that could, help millions, hundreds of millions of people around the world at various parts of their life, and being able to improve quality of life, but also being able to increase the number of people who can live, and reducing those risks, making it more personalized again, but also just making it so they even have access to those pieces, those parts of their body, those organs in the first place.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, if this works on scale, it'll be transformative.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And finally, Dr. Vishal Kumar asks, so Sunita Williams, who's an astronaut, was stuck in space for quite a while. She just got down for like, I think a few months or so.
Yeah.
Do you think some of these exercises helped her maintain her good health?
Oh, absolutely. I think that the key to being able to have astronauts continue their lives in a sustainable, happy way when they're back here on Earth is to make sure they do keep in that peak condition. And so when she was stuck up there, I mean, it's great that they made sure to have all of those technologies always up there, so that in these really sad situations where people are stuck up there for months on end, they are able to continue to keep in good shape and stay healthy. And so she absolutely used those so that when she came back down to Earth, she could continue. And even while up in space, she could continue to do research and work even while stuck up there. So absolutely.
That's great, honestly, yeah, because without this sort of stuff, you can imagine that there would be a big problem if you get
I
stuck.
mean, it helps with entertainment as well.
Oh,
I mean, when you're stuck up there, possibly alone or with a few number of people, small number of people, it's super important to have things to do to keep you entertained, and even minor goals in their personal life to be like, oh, I want to increase the amount of resistance I can push, or different things like that.
That's very true. Got to get those endorphins.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so with that, do you want to keep going for the second half?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. There's another question.
Another
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Dr. Rajiv Nakwal asks, what are your thoughts in children's health, pregnancy in space? Well, maybe in the next session, those can be some research developments. But if you have any thoughts.
I mean,
Yeah.
definitely a subject that is very contentious, lots of different opinions and thoughts, and a little bit of research into the subject as well. I'm no expert on this. I've not researched this at all. This is to preface what I say. But my personal thoughts on it are that it will be something that we will have to face and understand and best prepare for in the future at some point. When we do want to plan for possibly starting colonies on other planets, that will need to be something we think about, of how, especially pregnancy works and how children's growth and development can adjust based on the different conditions on different planets. And so it's definitely something we'll have to face one day. But I think our first problem is always just being able to get there in the first place. And so it's definitely a goal for the future, but at the moment, there's not as much research on it, and definitely, though, lots of thoughts and opinions.
Right on. Yeah. Cool.
Absolutely.
Do you
Yeah.
want to
I
continue
guess
for the
I
second
can I can continue. Yeah, for the second half here.
Take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So MRI technology. This is a continuation of diagnostics. So MRI machines are something that were not developed by NASA, but the image processing that NASA has worked on when it was first created and for decades afterwards led to or helped lead to the development and innovations of MRI technology and being able to best scan and understand the human body in an entirely new access. And so this is something that they haven't applied it in space, since the machines are quite complex and large and require a lot of resources, requiring superconductors and various complex technologies that are also very hypersensitive and volatile, requiring various very high and very low temperatures, being able to send the waves out and stuff. And so while it hasn't been applied to having those machines in space yet, the work that NASA has done in space travel and space medicine and other innovations have led to and helped with the creation of MRI technologies. But with those technologies, while those machines in a medical sense have not been built in space yet, or applied in space yet, those same technologies are being used for various complex cameras and ways for us to capture more information in space on satellites, as you can see in the picture, and the International Space Station. So it helps in spheres beyond the medical, which I hope is something that I'm sharing with these technologies, is that while they are important in space and they can absolutely be applied on Earth, there's even more applications for them beyond the medical, which is something that's really amazing and awesome. The LVAD The left ventricle assist device was something co-developed by NASA and Dr. Michael DeBakey, and it is something that was created with and inspired by how space shuttles fuel pumps work, with being able to control the flow and understand the fluid dynamics of different systems better. And so that is something where a technology that is completely out of medicine was being able to be applied to medicine by bridging that gap with the better understandings of fluid dynamics, which is a very complex and amazing physics topic. And so this is a wonderful example of how like I was talking about, there are those massive connections between the medical and the non-medical. And NASA is one of those people that are, one of those groups that are really just pushing that idea forward of building more connections between the sciences, and being able to share different innovations and apply them to different situations that they may have not originally been intended for, but can absolutely help in. And then absolutely with light therapy for cancer patients. Well, NASA does a lot of research when it comes to different topics in space, including plant growth. Being able to understand how plants grow in space and without gravity or in microgravity situations better helps us understand plants here on Earth. And so there's a lot of different research always being done on the ISS when it comes to plants. But with that, it requires being able to help those plants grow, which requires special lights and LEDs. And again, with the interdisciplinary research and innovations, interestingly enough, those LEDs have been found to reduce chemotherapy side effects due to the light they produce and the way they produce it. And so this is able to treat a couple different types of cancer treatments and chemotherapy, and a couple different types of cancers, especially with oral mucositis, and cancer patients undergoing stem cell transplant, and it reduces pain and other side effects that can really get in the way of the healing and continued lives of cancer survivors and people currently experiencing it. And then again, going back to the ultrasounds, the technology really is a huge advancement, innovation, and constantly being explored, due to the fact that it can explore and easily look through the human body to get better understandings of things in a non-invasive manner. And so these ultrasound techs are, again, being applied originally from space, are now being applied in sports medicine, rural clinics, ERs, and all different types of medical situations, where it is helpful to get a larger picture of what is going on, which is just an amazing innovation technology, an amazing part of the science community and medicine community to be able to apply these technologies in all different fields and share their research, which is awesome. And new innovation due to the high efficiency and effectiveness of the NASA's recent developments in ultrasound. They've been able to observe things that weren't previously able to be as easily observed in previous ultrasound technologies, such as a collapsed lung, more in-depth fractures and smaller fractures have been able to be observed, including internal and also as well internal bleeding, without having to worry about harmful X-rays or other technologies that could be less controllable or more volatile, or have more long-term effects. And so it's just more it's very amazing that these ultrasound developments have been able to help people in diagnostics in a less invasive manner than ever before. But while they're in space, they need to obviously they need to continue to have water and continue to have the various necessary things to live in space. But because of how far away they are and how complicated it is to send things into space, they can't constantly be sending fresh new water. And so NASA has done a lot of research and been able to develop a lot of technologies when it comes to water recycling, from sweat, urine, in the air and beyond. And so here in the picture on the left, you can actually see that that the European Space Agency has a wonderful picture showing and diagramming one of their different water filtration systems to best reuse and recycle water, so that up to 98%, so that they are able to have to not worry about shipping up as much water, and they can just continue to be more effective when it comes to resource sending and different trips up, and to keep the astronauts in space as safe as possible and being able to drink as much water as they need, or as much as they want even, to continue the health and positive environment. And these technology and NASA has also done a lot of research besides the ESA, and these technologies, since it is such, they need as much effectiveness as possible, being able to recycle as much water as possible. These technologies have been able to be applied to situations where they have very limited water supplies, in disaster zones, remote villages, to be able to let their water supply be something continuously replenished and reused and recycled as much as possible, to keep such a valuable resource plentiful and safe. A couple of years ago, NASA did an amazing study when it comes to with a twin study, where they saw how different things were truly affecting identical twins, by having one who lives on Earth and the one who's an astronaut on the International Space Station for an entire year. And this study was able to be used for a lot of different situations of how microgravity and the environment of space affects and changes the human body, by having a comparison, which was really an amazing study. And obviously a big part of it was also when it came to medicine. And so with it, they explored the immune response to specifically flu vaccines, was one of them. And so they were able to find out and observe how microgravity, can affect and change these different medical things, to best observe and understand these diseases, conditions, and vaccines, and how to fight and prevent diseases in a better manner. And the microgravity research was separately also done on salmonella, and helped create a new vaccine and have more developments in that field to best prevent and develop an entirely new preventative measure when it came into medicine and diseases. And then obviously with more detection diagnostic things, breast cancer is a huge problem that affects millions of people every year. And so it is super important to develop technologies to best detect it as soon as possible, so it can be treated as quickly as possible and let those people enjoy their lives and get back to them, after facing breast cancer. And so robotic arms have been developed and are continuing to be developed and innovated on, to be able to better detect and understand mammograms, and use those technologies and the sensitive sensors to best detect abnormalities and cancers as soon as they pop up and appear, so that they can be treated as soon as possible to have the least amount of risk and effect on a person's life. And also imaging and AI technologies are being applied and work together to better understand imaging techniques for detecting breast cancer and scanning things such as the ultrasound. And so those with these technologies and innovations, you can better understand the images you receive and look for those abnormalities, which are something that are really, really important. And then continuing on the topic of cancer, there's recently in the past 2 years been some amazing research in microgravity where they were that due to the unique environment, researchers were able to identify a specific protein that is critical to cancer cell survival. And in this case, the TMB IM6. And that specific protein is very important to controlling the internal environment of a cancer cell. And since it is not something that is activated in non-cancer cells, it is something that can be used to quickly identify cancer cells. But also, since it is so imperative to the cancer cell survival, Microquin, the developers and researchers and company like forwarding this study, on the International Space Station have been looking into treatments for cancer and different ways to use this information. And so specifically a thing is they have developed a molecule that is able to trigger the cancer cell death without harming healthy cancer cells, due to the fact that this protein is only activated and required in cancer cells. And there are many obviously amazing ideas and thoughts behind how this can be applied beyond. I mean, this is something that could absolutely be applied to other cancer types. And so this is something that they're actively researching and looking forward to using and possibly helping as many people as possible. And so this is a huge development that came thanks to research in space and microgravity, and being able to use that unique environment to look out for these special proteins or parts of cancer cells or other diseases or conditions that wouldn't normally be able to be spotted. And this is a huge development that absolutely can help millions and millions and millions of people every year. And then another wonderful thing about this is that this discovery this specific protein was also being able to be applied to other neurodegenerative conditions and also viral infections, and being able to better understand the internal environment of cells. But also this protein was found in those situations of being something that could effectively treat, prevent, or even stop these conditions, which is something that's amazing. And then going back and kind of covering everything, the developments of earth sciences and diagnostics and medicine, and space science, diagnostics and medicine, they all help each other in a very connective way, where the developing these technologies and having them be more open and accessible, and publishing the research to openly to allow for people to come up with more innovative ideas and creatively think and apply these ideas is something that is so special about space med tech. And this is leading to faster diagnosing of different conditions, and in general diagnostics being bettered, as well as safer surgeries from the robotics, and being able to have more control in those environments due to having to deal with them in the extremities of space. And then also the broader access to these care when it comes to telemedicine, and also being able to apply for example, the ultrasound technologies from a distance. And so these are amazing technologies that are allowing medicine to be more accessible and to be more effective overall, which is just amazing and really will help all of us. And these innovations alone are being applied to over 100 countries. And that's it's helping billions of people, which is something that's quite amazing. In conclusion, though, space medicine, it's not just about space. It's not just about astronauts. It's truly about everyone. It's about us in the present. It's about us in the future. It's about everyone in the future. And continuing to invest and apply and study and research the health and medicine in space will continue to fuel global medicine innovations in general. And I'll finish off with this final quote: "What helps astronauts survive in space helps humans thrive on Earth." Thank you so much. And now we will be covering some of the questions.
Yeah. Well, great talk. That was amazing.
Thank you.
So first, we have a question from Varun Singh Chauhan, who asks that MRI tech can be further innovated. What do you think about connecting that technology to maybe other fields?
I mean, yeah, MRI technologies are for imaging and scanning and primarily diagnostics when it comes to medicine. But obviously, being able to apply that to other situations in which we need larger pictures can absolutely be helped. I mean, one thing that just comes to mind is better being able to understand other types of life. When it comes to plants, being able to observe the inside and internal structures of plants, or even the ground, without having to be invasive, are definitely things that can be very helpful overall.
Oh, that's a great idea. I hadn't even thought about that. That's cool. Yeah. Dr. Vishal Kumar just shares his sort of appreciation of the LVAD technology, LVAD, and wonders if we can also use it on Earth for something.
We absolutely can use it on Earth. I mean, it was primarily developed for Earth. It was using technologies for space, the thrust systems and rockets, but it is something that is being primarily and used already on Earth. As something that can really help with when it comes to heart health and developments when it comes to treating heart conditions.
I mean, that's amazing. That's such a good example of like a direct to Earth benefit.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then Varun Singh Chauhan again asks, I think is it red light therapy? I think this was in contact.
Where is this?
Right there. Is it red light therapy? If you go to your slides, I
They
think.
must have seen some kind of an image.
Yeah, it was
The light therapy. Yes, the
plant
light
growth.
therapy. Yes, I believe that is the same technology. And yeah, it is something that truly does help a lot of people who are already experiencing a lot of pain and other side effects of chemotherapy and experiencing cancer in the first place. And being able to lessen the effects of that, the harshness of that situation is absolutely something that is imperative. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah. iLight Communications shares their thought that, it's so cool to learn all of these things, but, healthcare in space is quite expensive. And there's also at the same time this issue where it's really hard to access good healthcare for a lot of people on Earth, right? Because of money and like economic considerations. And, we need more policy support for Earth health as well.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about that and how like space sits with respect to?
Yeah. I mean, the Earth health is obviously a huge topic of being able to help all of us, the billions of people still on the planet. And so I think policy to help support innovation and developments and research, but also being able to apply what we already know to more people is something that is definitely very important, imperative. I mean, there are millions of lives that can be saved by just policy alone of being able to make healthcare and other technologies more accessible to more people. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah. And just on the note of health technologies, Dr. Vishal Kumar and Varun Singh Chauhan both sort of noted, both thought the vaccine stuff was cool, but Varun Singh Chauhan asks, Avery, what's different with vaccination in the space environment, like in terms of how it's conducted versus what we're used to here on Earth?
I mean, the main differences would be in the receiver of the vaccination, the human body itself of that astronaut, because they are in a situation in which their body is working differently. Their heart isn't having to fight gravity when it sends blood around their circulatory system. When they're breathing air, it's at a constant pressure. It's in a very constant, consistent environment. And additionally, they're also experiencing the other effects of space of being in a trapped environment where they're experiencing the same air, the same possible microbes in the air, and different effects like that. And so being in the same a continuous environment, but also one that is stressful, I think are what make the vaccines different. And so it comes down to the human body, the receiver of the vaccination. Where the vaccine may be a constant, but being in space absolutely is a different thing entirely.
It's a great, yeah. So now, once again, amazing job, Avery.
Thank you.
Thanks for the great talk. Learned
Great
so
job
much.
to you as well.
Yeah. And now we'll invite Dr. Rajiv Nagpal to, take it from here.
Hello, everybody. I have come specially to say thanks to Avery and Vignesh, who have brought this very interactive live session to all our audience. If there's any question you want to put or any comment, meanwhile, some of the students and volunteers were asking how can they be involved. They wanted to gain some confidence in public speaking or sharing their knowledge. So very kindly, Avery, we have this information here. If you could just...
absolutely.
So those who wanted to... anybody who wants to put a comment can please put a comment. Those who want to take the details of the website. We also have our LinkedIn page which can be shared, I think, through this. If you have already taken our website, we do want volunteers to teach. Our topics are very much in all your field. It could be public health, it could be medical sciences, AI, data in health, or medtech, like engineers. We need optical engineers, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers. All these people are bringing so much of technology together. Interdisciplinary growth is so important right now. So I hope that answers those who are asking how can they find more details. Is there any comment? We can have final comment, and then we will just give a big round of applause to both our young speakers. Is there any comment we can see there?
Well, I wanted to
Yeah.
thank you for hosting us as well in the
Oh,
first place.
wonderful.
It's amazing to
That's-
be able to share this with such broad audience.
Yeah,
And have it open to the
and
public.
as you rightly said, we all need to come together, right?
I also thank you for hosting this. It was a great opportunity to both learn and then talk about sort of the intersections of astronomy and health with everyone.
Right.
was really
Let's
fun.
see any comment. Can you read?
Yeah. Any more comments? Let's see. Yeah. How can we reach out to you? Share that here, and then
That is from whom?
Dr. Vishal.
Yes, Dr. Vishal, you are more than welcome to be part of our ever-growing team. We are opening soon some scholarships. We will be creating many opportunities for students from underprivileged areas or who have less access to technological support. So keep looking to our programs. Yeah, that's one. Thank you, Dr. Vishal, for asking. Any other comment or
Mhm.
question?
This is a question for you. This session was fantastic. What is the future vision of the Charan Kamal Health Group?
Thanks, Varun, for your question. Our vision is we want to be in an interdisciplinary space, and with the youth in front of us. As you know, Avery is from mechanical engineering, Vignesh is from astrophysics, and when we were studying and when we were growing, there was like always this kind of a pipeline. You have to be a doctor, you have to be an engineer, you have to be a financial guy, but the world is not the same, and health is concerning all of us, whether it's you or me. Health is concerning all of us. Through Charan Kamal, we want to come together. We want to create a common platform. We deal on mental health. We deal on technology. We also have a clinical wing where we do rehab for seniors and those who are unable to afford treatment. We do free health camps in India. We want to expand it from Delhi and Gurgaon to other cities as the team will grow. So Charan Kamal, I can say, is a collaborative platform. Our vision is to have students with us, and have professionals with us to come together and make this world a more healthier and a happy space. So everybody's welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope to see you in some other session. Bye bye now.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Take care and thank you.
So how did it go?